Hari Om. Start with the prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are analyzing the Vijnanamaya Kosha, and the Vijnanamaya Kosha is essentially the one that reflects the consciousness, Chidabhasa, and in the process of reflecting the consciousness, it itself becomes as though quote unquote conscious entity. Consciousness is only coming from the pure consciousness, but it's only an instrument, just as the light from the moon is coming from the sunlight only. So when I look at the moon and when the moon is shining, it's not really I am seeing the moonlight, it's only sunlight but reflected by the moon. Moon is required for reflection. Without the moon present, I will not be able to see the sunlight that is there where the moon is. So for me to see the sunlight, I need a reflecting medium. But getting carried away that it's the moon that is reflecting is my misunderstanding. In the same way, the consciousness is as though gets reflected by the buddhi, and in the process, the buddhi has become a conscious entity. So the consciousness in the buddhi is not the original, it is from the original consciousness which is all pervading. So looking at the buddhi, looking at the consciousness activities on the buddhi, I have to recognize that the consciousness that I am is pure consciousness that is all pervading. Looking at the moon and looking at the light of the moon, I have to recognize that it is sunlight that I am really seeing. Even though moon is only a vehicle for me to see, I need the moon to see the sunlight. Same way, you can apply this. I need the buddhi to see the consciousness. Without the buddhi, I will not be able to recognize the consciousness. It's not the buddhi is bringing consciousness, but buddhi is reflecting the consciousness that is there, and without the reflecting process, I will not be able to know the consciousness. All that is implied. So I cannot see the consciousness, I cannot recognize the consciousness without the reflecting medium. But if I carried away with the notion that it is the reflecting medium, it has become a conscious entity and the consciousness is coming because of that, then I have a wrong understanding of where the consciousness is coming from. So here in the next sloka, we have covered that this is anadi. It is beginningless. When is the buddhi come? Buddhi is also anadi because avidya is anadi. Even though we'll see later, even though it is anadi, it can be ended by the knowledge. So because of that, aham swabhava, I am a jiva. Aham swabhava is I am a local entity, I am an individual. That understanding came from the beginning, because not that I was originally know that I am Brahman and suddenly I got the idea that I am a jiva, because then jnani doesn't become an ajnani. If jnani becomes ajnani, then there is no need of moksha, because there is no point of moksha, because even after moksha I can again become ajnani and there is no end of solution. So therefore the jnanam doesn't come, only the beginningless avidya will go away with the jnanam, and that is the ignorance has to be beginningless. Therefore the buddhi also is beginningless, because buddhi is a product of the prakriti, which is nothing but maya, which is nothing but avidya and the total scale. So all that is implied here, anadikalaha, aham swabhaha. Whenever there is a buddhi, then the ignorance, because of the ignorance, I have a notion that I am this. So that's what the ignorance is. Ignorance is I am, that is pure all pervading consciousness that I am, and this is the medium that is getting reflecting and become conscious entity, and that's what is called ego. Ego is I am equal to this. So once I have the notion that I am a local entity which is conscious entity, and jiva samasya vyaharam aroti karmani anupurva vasana, according to the vasana I am performing the action, and action depends upon the type of action or attitude in the action. I get the punyam and papam, and the merits and demerits depending upon whether it's a dharma or adharma, and I have to bear the consequence of those results of the action. Therefore I am born in an environment conducive to exhaust those punya and papa. So everything I enjoy benefits of my pure karma only, or suffer also benefits of my karma only. Nobody suffers unnecessarily. Even God cannot change the karma, because karma is what He blesses for the results of the action. But my prayer will not help me in removing the karma, but prayer will help me in having a better attitude to face the karma. So karma comes, says, if I accept the karma as with a prasada buddhi, that it is coming from the Lord, because He is the one who gives the results of the action that I have done in the past. And therefore, with a reverential attitude, whether it's a good or bad, if I accept it, then I don't suffer the consequence of that papam and punyam, even though experience is the same. Whether it's a realized soul or ajnani, the experience will be the same. But suffering will be different, because the suffering comes from the identification. For example, when the baby is sick, mother suffers a lot, because baby may be suffering from physically, but mother, even though she is not suffering physically, mentally she suffers by identifying with the baby. So mother's suffering is much more compared to even baby's suffering. So by identification I can suffer more. In the same way, identification with I am the jiva notion, where I suffer the consequence of the punyam and papam. And that can be neutralized obviously by surrendering myself to the Ishvara. Now we go into the next sloka, which is 190, and it classifies a lot more concepts of what Vijnanamaya Kosha is. Deha dinishta sraya dharma karma gunabhimanaha satatam amiti ato bhavatyesha upadirasya yadatmadhihi samsarati bhramena. Oh, we have missed one line. Deha dinishtasrama dharma karma gunabhimanaha satatam ameti vijnana koshaha ayamit prakashaha prakrushta sannidhya vashat paratmanaha atho bhavetyesha upadirasya yadatmadhihi samsarati bhramena. So deha adi nishta asrama dharma karma guna abhimanaha satatam mameti. So all the time, essentially, mama iti, I am this is mine. Starting from dehadi, that means starting from the body, deha, indriyas, all karma indriyas, jnana indriyas, all everything, the 9 yards go with it. So starting from the body and all the activities of the body, and because of the trigunatmikam, which is tamas, rajas and sattva gunas, the associated activities along with the gunas, and nishtama karma, nishtasrama dharma, asrama dharma karma, but depending upon the ashrama, that means either the brahmacharya ashrama, grihastha ashrama, vanaprastha ashrama, or from the modern language, any the position or the role that I am playing, if I am an engineer or a doctor or whatever the role that I had to play, those dharmas associated with the roles have become my dharmas. That is essentially, this is the abhimanam, guna abhimanaha satatam mameti. These are mine is because of abhimanam, because of the attachments to those. So this has to be done because of this role has to be played according to the vesham that I have taken on a screen, on a stage. So an actor can play different roles depending upon the drama, and while playing the role, he plays the role as best as he can, knowing very well the problems of the role does not belong to him. It's only role playing in that situation, and once he goes to green room, he removes the vesham and he's back as the original actor. In the same way, I can take the vesham of a jiva. Because of the past karmas, I can play the role of a particular a father, a mother, or employee. Every role that is given in the stage can be played, stage of life can be played without getting involved in the activities. That's how a jnani performs. But here, abhimanam, because of my attachment to the role, I identify myself with the role so much that I am a father, I am a mother, I am so on, and suffer the consequence of the identification. So Vijnanamayaha, I am Atiprakashaha. This Vijnana Kosha is a brilliant. Why is brilliant? Prakushta Sanidhyavashat Paratmaha. It is very close to the consciousness in the hierarchy of this. Essentially, consciousness in direct contact with the buddhi enlivens the buddhi, and from the buddhi it goes to the mind, from the mind it goes to the pranas, and the pranas goes to the body. So this is how it ripples down. So the one that is closest to the consciousness is the buddhi, and that's the one. The intellect is why the consciousness is enlivening the intellect. So if the intellect is bright, that means it is pure, then the whole consciousness beams through, and we say, oh, this fellow is very bright. Not that he is shining, that means he is a brilliant. The brilliancy comes because the consciousness is activated so much, because his mind is very subtle and pure, therefore it absorbs the knowledge rapidly also. So that's what when some people are very brilliant. Now there is a joke, says the teacher is wearing a goggles. You know why the teacher is wearing goggles? Because the students are very bright. So it means they are shining, which means the consciousness is very close to Prakushta Sanidhyam. It's very close to the consciousness. Consciousness is everywhere. It's all pervading. Very close. Here means not in terms of the spatial closeness. It is because it's a direct contact with the buddhi, because it can reflect in the buddhi only. And it cannot reflect as a conscious entity in other instruments, like in the stones and all that. Even though the consciousness Brahman is all pervading, it cannot reflect, the stone cannot reflect the consciousness. It only reflects the existent part of it. In the buddhi, if it is a depending on the purity of the buddhi, consciousness gets reflected, and therefore it gains, the buddhi gains consciousness depending upon the reflecting medium. That means he is a bright or a dull depending on the gunas of the buddhi, and the one who is purified, that means the sattva, the tamas and rajas have been filtered out, and the one who is going into the sattvic, the brilliance of the buddhi comes out, because it's in close proximity with the consciousness. Prakushta Sanidhyavasat Paratmanaha. So Atho Bhavati Esha Upadirasya Yadatmadhihi Samsarati Brahmena. Now this original consciousness getting reflected in the buddhi and making the buddhi active, now identifying with the buddhi is I am the buddhi, and therefore upadhi, this means buddhi is upadhi. Upadhi means an instrument, and taking the instrument as myself, and therefore adha bhavati, says atmadihi, in the intellect itself, that I am a jiva notion arises in the intellect. That's why say who realizes? It is the buddhi has to realize that I am not a jiva, the consciousness that is only a reflection of the original consciousness. So even while living, while staying in the buddhi, looking at the reflected consciousness, recognize that the consciousness that I am is from the pure consciousness. That has to be, that's the knowledge. It's called Upahita Chaitanyam, means Upadi Saita Chaitanyam, the one which is enlivened by the buddhi, enlivened by consciousness, that buddhi which has a wrong notions that I am only a jiva, limited jiva, identifying with the buddhi, and then identifying with the mind, and then identifying with the pranas, and then identifying with the Annamaya Kosha. So each kosha identification occurs in sequence. So because of the identification, this essentially upadirasya bhavati samsarati brahmena, because of the delusion brahmena, and it is the samsarati, the samsaram, the transmigration of the soul, or continuously movement of soul propelled by or directed to by the vasanas. So I go from here to there because my vasanas are propelling me and my desire is propelling to enjoy something there. So every movement is dictated by the previous karmas or vasanas, and therefore I continuously, not only in this life, life after life, different lokas, and that's what essentially samsarati brahmena, and that samsarati bhavati. So this movement occurs because of the delusion. Brahmena means delusion. Delusion is understanding that I am this, which is I am pure conscious entity identifying with the inert entity, and that is due to delusion, and that's what is essentially samsara comes into picture. So it's starting from the buddhi. So who has the ignorance? It is the buddhi. Antakarana has ignorance, but antakarana is inert. How can it have ignorance? Ignorance has to be locus in a conscious entity. Antakarana activated by the Chidabhasa, which itself is due to the original consciousness, is the one having a problem. So who has this? It is at the outset, it is the Antakarana buddhi, but it cannot do unless it's activated by the reflected consciousness. Reflection cannot occur unless you have original consciousness. So the whole package involved in terms of both the ignorance as well as the knowledge also. So depending upon what we point out, the original consciousness has to be there as a sakshi, and that has getting reflected. Saksham is what is being witnessed, and that is the buddhi, and in that reflection is called Chidabhasa, and that activated buddhi has the wrong notions, and I am a jiva is a notion, because it says consciousness that I am a conscious entity. So consciousness that I am is due to this limited buddhi, and the buddhi, therefore punyam papam all belongs to the buddhi only, and that's why it says samsarati, because of the wrong notions in the buddhi. Wrong notions can only be removed by right understanding. Therefore only the knowledge is essential to remove the avidya, and avidya janma punya papam also. Now we go to the next sloka. Yoyam vijnanamaya praneshu hridispurati ayam jyotihi kutastas sanatma karta bhokta bhavati upadistaha. So this sloka says essentially kutastaha. Kutastaha is the consciousness, that part of consciousness which is all pervading part, but only that part that is falling on the local body, the buddhi, is what we call a kutastaha. Kutastaha means that which does not undergo any change. So it is all pervading consciousness, is not a knower, but is also involved in the process, but involved without getting affected by it. So one has to be careful. It says even though the package involves original consciousness and the reflected consciousness and the reflecting medium, all three involved in the jnanam and vijnanam, all that, at the same time the buddhi itself cannot know without the reflection, and reflection cannot occur without the original consciousness, but the original consciousness is not really involved in the reflection also. So how is this possible? It says from the point of original consciousness there is not even a reflective medium and there is no reflection. But since we are looking at the world and seeing the world and inquiring into it, for the one who has a notion that there is a world and I am a buddhi, for him only this is teaching. Therefore even the teaching is only at the level of transactional vyavaharika satyam, not a paramarthika satyam. And we go into more details of the Vijnanamaya Kosha in the next talk, and with this we stop here right now. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.